What's going on, guys? As you know, and the game one has commenced. We've finished game one across multiple games. I know I'm slightly late to the party, seeing that we're getting ready to start a lot of game twos. Game twos have begun, but I thought better late than never. I might as well jump in and just still give my thoughts and still just kind of lay the groundwork. And I'm gonna go each game in order in which they happen. So first, we're gonna start with the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Indiana Pacers. Um, After taking a look at the game, I think it was pretty clear cut. What we see here. If you look at the stat line, the Milwaukee Bucks, they just had one of the worst shooting nights I've ever seen. Like, they shot under 25% from three. I think they only hit five threes, and they all came from AJ Green. Um, he had 15 points. Giannis, their leading scorer, with 36. The bench came back with what 12, 15, like 27, about 40 points, 45 points. Giannis, the only one kind of really in the starting lineup doing anything. Brook Lopez gave a 9. Ryan Rollins with 5. But this is you're not beating any professional basketball team when you shoot the ball like this. It's insane, actually. Um, yeah, I think it's pretty clear cut. If we jump down and look at Indiana, we could clearly see Pascal Siakam again in my playoff prediction video. I kind of did speak on Pascal Siakam being kind of an X factor, and in game one he kind of did show out 10 for 50, like again efficient, just 67% from the field, 25 points, plus minus plus 28. Like, he turned the ball over once. He did get into a little bit of a foul trouble, but they always put him on their best defender. So the fact he's going out there having 25 and then he's getting a steal and a block with one turnover, that's great basketball. It's efficiency. Maxi 12 and 10 with one turnover, efficient basketball. The bench giving up. It was a pretty like the starters came to play. Again, Miles Turner, he's really good. I think teams should try to go try to pick him up in the offseason if he's available. He's definitely a guy that cements your team together to just take him over the top. So I think Indiana has a good roster. I still stand firm on what I believe that the Indiana Pacers can definitely beat the Bucks, especially with no Damian Lillard. Like, Damian Lillard is really important to this team because it's like he gives them the spacing, he gives Giannis the room to run and go. And I'm just gonna emphasize that it's again, Giannis is gonna score 20, 25. He's gonna do that. He's talented. He's gonna do that. The problem is everybody's out of rhythm. Everybody's out of rhythm. There's no way you can tell me, and I don't believe that this is going to continue in the game too. I think that the Milwaukee Bucks, and if Doc Rivers wants to keep his job as the head coach, I think they'll game plan in going into this. It's really trying to find a weakness in that Indiana team. They have a pretty good core. I think it's just a talent level thing. Where I just think the Bucks bench is just not talented enough. I mean, Kyle Kuzma putting up a donut in 22 minutes is just pitiful. So again, the Bucks need to hit the regame plan, refocus their attention, and yeah, they need to at least win one in Indiana just to keep the series advantage, or just to neutralize them winning their first game. So Milwaukee has a little bit of a hole to climb out of. Definitely with a 19-point loss in the game one in the playoffs. So let's see what they do. We're saying Damian Lillard's supposed to come back for game 3, so we'll see. But I definitely still have Indiana really beating them in about 6 games. They just have the better. Again, I told you, better coach. And just the more well put together team. Giannis and Dame is a good duo, but they have a better put together team. So let's move on to the next team in the next matchup. All right, so next game on the slate: Los Angeles Clippers, Denver Nuggets. The Clippers, again, if you take a look, the rotations are shortening. We've seen a well balanced game from the Clippers. We saw Kawhi with 22. We saw Zubac with 20. He's definitely grown into a respectable center in the NBA. James Harden with 32 and 11 assists. It's with only 2 turnovers is amazing. So I think the Clippers starters came out to play. Chris Dunn with 10. Not too much coming from the bench. I like the Ben Simmons pickup. He has good size and he's revitalized his career a little bit. He's changed the way that he's approached the game, which I like. He's definitely has a different look on this Clippers team. So I like him on this team. It's not bad. And we need to really just pay attention to what's really going on here. Clippers turned the ball over 20 times. And they outshot the Clippers. They had a better. They outshot the Nuggets. It was a better matchup for them. Westbrook with 15. Westbrook in this game, it was a really good game for. It was a good game for him, and it was also like he had fans at the edge of their seat. He would hit big threes to like help them push it to overtime. And then obviously he got the game-winning steal. So Westbrook was really like a good X factor there, +7 on the box score. Nobody on this team was really getting outscored except obviously Michael Porter Jr. He had 3 points, but obviously he was a starter that didn't show up and a win. So it's a lot to pay attention to. The Clippers didn't get anything from their bench. Again, 20 turnovers is not gonna help, and it came down to overtime, and when it was again, and I've seen this firsthand. When James Harden was on the Rockets, I've seen like in clutch moments he can come up big and hit like crazy shots, but he also can with the ball in your hands you're down for miscues. There's like things can go wrong. So again, we've seen Westbrook get the game-winning steal, and he pretty much just clamps the game, giving Denver the 1-0 lead. So we'll really give a see. We'll take a look. I know we'll see what the Clippers and the Tyronn Lue, see what he where his mind is at. I think this Clippers team could really still beat the Nuggets. I think they could take them and go to the second round. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how this plays out. But I like this matchup. It's intense as hell, and all the games are pretty close. So we'll see. We'll just keep monitoring that. Next, we have the Detroit Pistons versus the New York Knicks, and this game was, if you're a coach, it was a meltdown. There's no other way to describe that as a meltdown. If we go ahead and take a look, we've seen Malik Beasley, 20 points off the bench. Isaiah Stewart, he played 19 minutes +8, 5 rebounds, not bad. Tobias Harris with 25. Usher Thomas with 10. Tim Hardaway with 19, and Cade Cunningham at 21. So what could have possibly went wrong for the Detroit Pistons? Well, the Knicks came to play that day. If you go ahead and we scroll down and take a look, the Knicks, while they didn't outshoot the Pistons, at least from 3, definitely from the field goal, the Knicks were just not missing. It was, if you watch that game, this game is defined by 21-0 run. Like, Knicks just dropped 21 straight points. Mikal Bridges with 8. It's. I think he had out of the starters, he had obviously the worst game, but the Knicks came to play. OG was just a menace, man. Like, OG is a great wing defender, and he's gonna give you 20. He knows to find his spots. He's just a great utility guy for the Knicks. I think he's a great pickup for them. Karl Anthony, 23, 11. He's going to do his thing. I wish I could see a little bit more from him on the defensive side of things, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Brunson was really the dog, 34. He does that. 8 assists. That's his thing, man. So Josh Hart, another good utility dude. He's pretty good. Cam Payne, he really sparked that 21-0 run. Like, he came in, hit some big shots, and 14 points in 15 minutes, 5 for 7. Like, coaches love. Look at the +23. Like, Cam Payne was really the pushing factor for that. How does this tip my view of the series? Again, I think the Knicks can definitely beat the Pistons. They're better than like the worst teams. Like I said, I'll repeat my stance on the Knicks. They're better than the worst teams, and they're better than good teams, but they're not up there with the best teams. Um, but this game really just shows that they can dominate their conference. They could put teams in the check, and these 44 win Pistons team, while they like look great in the regular season, now that is the playoff basketball. And it's funny because I believe it was Malik Beasley, who just kept looking and saying playoff basketball, playoff basketball, playoff basketball. We'll get to that in the next video. Um, it just intensifies again. Like my point stands with the Clippers, and again I said this in the end of the season. A lot of these players are not going to play after this. Like after the season's over, and like teams figure out like, all right, what lineups work, what 5 to 9 guys can I play, and I'm going to get good results. You're going to see teams and players not play, and it's only going to get shorter, and you're going to see people get plugged in when players don't play. Campaign, he had a great campaign bar for his playoff first game of the playoffs, and I think New York can definitely take this. My one criticism for the Pistons is I would like to see Asar Thompson dribble the ball a little bit more. I feel like he was too like, I don't know if that's just something that he like doesn't do in his game, but I would like to see him dribble the ball more. I think there were times where it was time for him to like just get into an action and just go, and he would pick his dribble up, and I feel like sometimes on defense he could be a little undisciplined. But those are things that young players can kind of like study and get rid of those bad habits. But yeah, those are well fought Knicks win. Yeah, that was just tough. 21-0 run that defines that game, and I think the Knicks could win in 6. Don't sleep on the Pistons. I think they can come back and reshape the series, but this one is Knicks showing their dominance there. Next on the list is Timberwolves versus the Los Angeles Lakers. And this game, I think it kind of like goes into the whole, I think this was a good team effort. This actually is a little bit different because unlike the other teams, like where they were shortening their lineups, the Timberwolves and the Lakers, they really played their whole team. Like the whole squad was playing. And in all honesty, it is, Jaden McDaniels with 25, Julius Randle with 16, 5 and 5, 7 turnovers, whatever, in the 4 fouls, but he's plus 19 on the floor, so he's playing efficiently. 6 for 11 with 4 threes. Like if Julius Randle's hitting 4 threes, it's a good sign for your team. Again, Jaden McDaniels, he 11 for 13. Like this guy was just on fire. Rudy Gobert, he had only 2 points and 6 rebounds, but again, plus 14. So you can tell that his impact was just bigger than the box score. Mike Conley, he's a good solid point guard. He's gonna give you about 5-6 points. He'll give you 2-3 assists, and he'll facilitate the ball for you. So I think Anthony Edwards, 22, 8 and 22. I don't know, like 8 rebounds, 9 assists, near triple-double for him. Like, they balled out. Naz Reid with 23. That's like a loud 23 coming off the bench. DiVincenzo, he definitely hit some big shots. It's just, I think it was a well-balanced attack by Minnesota. I think they just really straight-up dominated. Now, if we go and take a look at the Lakers. Again, LeBron, he's guaranteed for about double digits every night. A little inefficient shooting, 8 for 18. Luka Doncic, again, 37. Again, he's always due for about double digits every night. And then Austin Reeves, the 3 main pieces of this team that have been the main scoring options. Everybody else really just did not come into play. Like, again, Austin Reeves with minus 25 on the plus minus. A little inefficient shooting, so it's like he took 13 shots for 16 points. That's not good. Jackson Hayes only taking 2 shots. 1 point. Like that's not. We need field goals. They need field goals, and it's in the shooting percentages. Like they literally shot 51% from field, Minnesota, and the Lakers only hit less than 40% of their shots. And then we're not even going to talk about three. And it's not even a volume thing. They shot about the same amount of threes, and they just hit more shots. I think the main thing that people have been criticizing the Lakers for is their size. And I think it's just going to be reinforced. We'll see how they play moving forward. We'll see how they play with game plans they decide to see. I don't see them scoring 95 another game. Not another game, but I don't see them scoring 95 back-to-back, especially in Crypto.com Arena or formerly Staples Center. Like, 95 is abysmal. Poor shooting. 13 turnovers to the Minnesota Timberwolves 21, so it wasn't anything about possessions. They got up 83 shots. Timberwolves got up 86, so they had enough opportunities to make some shots, and it looks like they just didn't. So we'll see how they game plan for game 2. And yeah, I think Minnesota, they took the advantage away from the Lakers, and now they put the Lakers on their back heels. It's LeBron, so I'm definitely not going to count the Lakers out at all. I still see them winning, and I don't think it's going to be I don't think Shannon Sharp's just putting up 5. I think he's being a little faithful to the Lakers, but I see them beating them in about 6 or 7. The Minnesota Timberwolves are not a bad team. I actually had the pleasure to see them live. They're not a bad team at all. They get buckets. They got defense. They got size. The matchup is there for them. So Minnesota they would have to keep their foot on the gas, but it's LeBron and Luka, so don't expect them to score only 95 again. Rushi Hashimura, 9 points, 33% from the field. That's not bad, but again, he's just being outscored out there. So we'll see what they do for game 2. All right, the first game of day 2 of the NBA playoffs, or still game 1s, but in the second day, the Sunday games, we had OKC versus Memphis. Obviously, Memphis had to play in. They lost to the Golden State Warriors, and but they had a double elimination, so they were able to play. They were able to beat the Dallas Mavericks and be able to jump in and play OKC. They had a little bit, like maybe a day of rest before they had to jump back in and play, and it clearly showed. They beat them by 51 points, if my math is right. Yeah, they beat them by 51. I think that's the largest win of the playoffs so far. And it's very obvious. Ja Morant with 17 shots for 17 points. Again, not efficient, horrible from the three-point line. Turnover is not really the biggest problem. They had about a 7 point advantage or 7 turnover advantage on them. But then look at the balanced starter attack, like 19 from Chet, 20 from Jalen Williams, Hartenstein with 14 and 8 rebounds. Shea had only 15 points, and Lou Dort had 12. They hit 17 three-pointers. The Memphis Grizzlies shot 17.6% from 3. 34%. Again, that looks like fatigue to me. That looks like they were tired. They look like they could not. And then obviously OKC has been resting for the last couple days, as they should, as the number 1 seed in the NBA. And this looks like number 1. And it's so funny. I'm over here giving praise to the starters, but Game High is literally off the bench with Aaron Wiggins. He had literally 21. He literally came off the bench and just annihilated. Like he had the game campaign had against the Knicks, not against the Knicks, with the Knicks just now with the Pistons game 1 is he had that like times 2. Like it was even better. 21 off the bench, like it's insane. And then Cason Wallace, like plus minus 30 points. It's like whoa. He only had 2 points. He played 13 minutes, and like you could just tell it was a game of runs. They were just running up the score on them, 131-80. Memphis obviously got to hit the hit the game plan, but I really don't know. This team is really outmatched. Like, there's a lot of talent on this OKC Thunder team. Like, with Chet fully healthy, Shea being that guy, Lou Dort hitting shots, Hartenstein locking down the paint, and Jalen Williams just with his length and size. Like, that is a monster team. And Alex Caruso off the bench. Like, this team is very well equipped to be contenders for the next couple years. So this is great. 90% field goal. I mean, free throws. Like, this is textbook. Like, this is a coach's dream. Like, they love to read these kind of stats. So yeah, I mean, Memphis, they got their work cut out for them. I don't believe they're gonna. Memphis could maybe steal a game, but gentlemen sweep. That's my call. OKC, they're a deep team. They're built from roster top to bottom. They're good. Memphis, it's been a rough season losing your coach and just trying to jump back into the postseason just like that. But it's not looking good for Memphis. I think their season might be coming to a close very, very, very soon. All right. Next we have Orlando versus Boston, and again, this is very, 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 like, I think 36 and 23 is 39. It's 59, bro. 59 out of 86 points came from two players. That is not a winning formula to win any basketball game, series, even in the fucking league, rec league. Doesn't matter. Like, if your bench is only giving you 10 and 17 points, like, you're not winning any basketball game. This is I mean, Boston tried to, like, keep it close, or, like, Boston was keeping it close in the first half. It was a close game at half, and then they obviously blew the game open. Jason Tatum only had 17 points, but it was a good offensive night for him. 17 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, no turnovers. It's a great game. KP with 5 points, and 6 rebounds. He's doing his thing. This is a team effort right here. Derek White with the leading score of 30. He had 7 threes. Derek White is one of those, he is good at basketball. Great basketball player. Teams, like GMs, coaches, they foam at the mouth for players like him. He seems like a good guy to work with. He does whatever he needs to do. This dude has lost tooths. This dude has lost teeth. This dude has hit putback layup, impossible shot. Like, he does what he needs to do. Derek White is definitely one of my favorite players. He plays basketball. He's not just out there trying to score. He's a good basketball player, and you see it. He had 30 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, like a steal with 2 blocks. Like, he's gonna fill the stat sheet. I think he is a great piece that the Boston Celtics picked up a few years ago, and it's paying dividends. He's a great player. He's developing into a good player. And obviously Peyton Pritchard with 19 off the bench. Like, this dude hit four threes. He is a great shooter. He has a good form, good release, everything. Like, he got the Steph Curry kind of build, but just obviously not the Steph Curry shot, because Steph Curry shot is Steph Curry shot. But that dude can shoot. He is not. So I don't know if he plans on staying in Boston his whole career, but teams are looking at that guy because he can knock the ball down, and teams need that. Obviously, Al Horford playing 25 minutes, 5 points. He's always going to be that defensive veteran, heartfelt. Teams need a guy like that, and Al Horford is great. He's been great since he came into the NBA. So he's obviously not as good as he used to be, but he's definitely still great on defense. 5 rebounds. He had a steal, no blocks, and then only 2 personal fouls. He's definitely a good anchor piece for this team. But this was just a belt to ass, honestly, from Boston. And Jason Tatum, while not playing efficiently, only 8 for 22, only 1 3. They got the job done in typical fashion. So Orlando, let's see how they respond to this. I think Boston will beat the Orlando Magic. I'll say in about 5 games. Just seeing how efficient the Boston Celtics can be, and what the biggest problem that I see with the Orlando Magic is, again, even they cannot shoot the 3 ball. They can't score the ball. That is their biggest problem. They cannot score. They need to figure out how to generate offense. Their defense is amazing. Their defense is great. But they need to figure out something on the offensive side of the ball. If not, Boston will have their way with them. And all that defense that he was playing, like, it's not going to matter. So, let's see how they game plan for that. But again, I got Boston in 6. This one's easy. All right, next on the slate was Miami versus Cleveland, and Miami, again, my prediction was correct. I said that they were going to be the 10th seed, but they were going to battle their way in for 8. They did, and their matchup is Cleveland, which, on like a day of rest is like, damn. But it's not the end of the world. I think Miami played pretty decently. I mean, 14 turnovers is not great. 15 fouls isn't good. I don't want to chalk that up to fatigue. I don't want to give out excuses for teams. 48% from the field is not the worst I've seen. 42% from the 3. That literally ties with what Cleveland did. But again, the volume is just there. They just hit more threes, more free throws, and more shots. They got 8 more shots than they did. So it was like Cleveland just had a well-balanced game. Obviously, we could see from the starters on Miami, like Andrew Wiggins, 14 points. Bam Adebayo, he's going to do his thing. He's an Olympian, so they're some of the best. Tyler Hero, he's been playing some really good basketball this season. And then obviously we have Davion Mitchell off the bench with 18. 8 for 12, that's what we call efficiency. A lot of these guys you see have like 1 minute played, like they come in for some garbage time stuff. Kyle Anderson, not really too effective out there. A rebound or 2, but not really doing much. And it's just not really a lot of, not besides Davion Mitchell, nothing really coming off the bench. And then I think this just sums up the sentiment of Miami. They just don't have enough firepower to beat teams. Like, they can beat some teams like Chicago, but some of these other high caliber teams, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as easy as beating Atlanta or Chicago. You just jumped like 3 tiers of basketball teams in the NBA to just like jump through. So I don't know. Miami has their work cut out for them. I could see them taking 1 game at max, but Cleveland seems pretty deep. If we take a look at what's going on over there, the star of the show, Donovan Mitchell, 30 points in 33 minutes, 11 for 19, so he had a good shooting night. Darius Garland, 10 for 17, 27. Jared Allen, 12 with a block and 3 steals and 11 rebounds. Great game. The whole starters outscored. They were outscoring all the teams. Everybody who played significant minutes outscored. So it was really just they were just better out there that night. Obviously, that's why they have the higher score. But it was just overall, like, it was just like they were just more dominant than they were. Again, it's a similar situation with Boston and Cleveland. I think Miami can steal a game, but they can score. I don't think they can defend as well as Orlando, so they might be in trouble. DeAndre Hunter, he really didn't have too much of a game tonight. We'll see what he looks like in game 2. But, I think it was just Cleveland they outmuscled them with their star power. Their starters did the job alone. And then Ty Jerome coming off the bench with 28 is like enough. But, again, their bench didn't really do much besides him. It was really him and Sam Merrill. But other than that, like, their starters got the job done. I think Cleveland can ride their starters. I think they have just enough talent to beat Miami, just get past round 1 with those guys alone. So I think Miami, again, like Orlando, similar to them, I think their season is slowly but surely coming to an end. All right, and the last game of game 1, the game that I think, again, in my prediction video, I said that this had a lot of upset potential. I said Golden State had the ability to beat the Rockets with their veteran alone. This game, I think, speaks volumes to that. There's a few touching points I want to speak on about that. I felt like after watching the game, I was like, something's some things to note. One key factor is that Houston is going to have a rebounding advantage over Golden State. If you look at the box score, total rebounds, they had 36. The Houston Rockets had 52. Again, 16 more rebounds than them, but they beat them by 10. Something's wrong here. That's what's going on. Draymond 4 points, with 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, a block. Not a bad game at all. Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy's real. I was one of those guys that was saying that it wasn't real, but it's real. Playoff Jimmy's real. This guy he knows, it's weird. It's not the scoring volume. He's not like that. He knows how to win a game, and that's a skill that you cannot train or teach somebody. You just know how to do that. He knows the pace to go to. He knows how to get to his shot. He just gets to his shot. It's so strange just to describe, but Jimmy Butler just knows how to do that. Steph, 31. He missed his first 3, came back, bugged out, 12 for 19, 5 threes. He hit some crazy shots that night. Moses Moody, again, during the game, I was like, yo, Moody, keep your hands ready. And then again, in the fourth quarter, he hit some big shots for 7 points. That was a loud 7. Podensky with 14. This guy, he's blossomed into a great talent. Obviously, training with Steph all day and having to guard him and all that, it's gonna raise his talent, and he's really stepped up to the plate. He's really had a great back half of the season, and I think it has to do with Jimmy Butler. I think Jimmy Butler, that trade, as we look back, it's just gonna have so much of a positive effect on that team, just because losing Clay really did hurt the fan base, and there was that void of that second option for Steph, and not that. He had Chris Paul and, all those stunts they tried to pull, but a solidified dude that's going to get him 10, 15, a good 10, 15 that he needs. I think Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry was the perfect mixture that the NBA didn't even know that they needed. Off the bench, Gary Payton, he's doing his thing. I have a lot of criticisms about Buddy Hield. I feel like during the games he takes a lot of not even takes a lot of bad shots. I know the narrative right now is his basketball IQ, but if you really watch him during the game, he does do a lot of fundamental mistakes that just can cost you basketball games. It's a lot of defensive misslips and just not knowing where to be on time, and it's a lot of things that it's being noticed. If me, a casual fan watching the game through a camera, can see you dicking off on the court, it's don't think that your coach and your assistant coach and your trainers not seeing that. It's a lot. Even the game against the Clippers, where all Buddy Hield had to do was pump fake, sidestep, dribble. He had enough time to do that. Again, IQ is a big problem there. I don't want to just run with that narrative, because that's what the opinion is right now, or that's what everybody who thinks they have an opinion, or thinks they have an opinion, they think they know basketball, they hear that on the internet, they read the comments, they see Buddy Hield IQ. Nah, he really has an IQ problem. He's not, in the basketball sense, he does a lot of weird things on the court. That's my Buddy Hield rant. I like Quinton Post a lot. He didn't really score, and he was having a little battle match with Steven Adams, and Steven Adams had to kind of show him a little vet move, which is kind of, it's a little, I like that, because I remember when Steven Adams was a rookie coming in, and he had to get treated like that, and it's just the way of the basketball life cycle. So it's pretty awesome to see. And if you really watch the game, the Warriors were up by over 20, and they fake had to crawl out of the building. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with the Rockets. Jabari Smith, he had an 11. It was a pretty loud 11. He came off the bench, and he's been. I don't know. I liked what I saw from him. I'm gonna look at him a little more to see what's going on. See what. Why is he coming off the bench? Why is he only playing 25 minutes? But we'll see. Steven Adams was great to see out there. He was really hustling and doing his thing. He had 12 rebounds to show for it, so that was awesome. Jalen Green is a real surprise. 3 for 15 with 7. For me, I just feel like he's a player for me, and this is my opinion, honestly. I feel like he's a player that he's really really good at scoring the ball, and that's it. I didn't say basketball player. I said score the ball. He can score, but when it like the thing about scorers is that once you neutralize a scorer and they don't have any other skill set, how else are they going to affect the court? Like as a basketball player, you have to know like every game you play ain't gonna be a where you have to score like 100 points. You know, like you might have to play some defense, or you might have to be a rebounder that day, or you might have to facilitate and pass the ball. There's so many roles that you might have to fit on the court, just depending on who you're playing. And I just don't. I just feel like Jalen Green is a player that just doesn't like, like in the NBA at least, just is not. He's not adjusting to that. Again, this is. I don't know if this is. I don't remember off the top of my head if this is his first playoff appearance, but, he kind of did disappear. So we'll see what comes out of him from game 2. But he was the big surprise. Amen Thompson was another surprise. I think both the Thompson brothers on their first game playoff. I don't know if they're again if that's their debut in the NBA playoffs. I think that their debut doesn't speak volumes to the player they are, but it shows that like whatever they're used to or whoever they're used to playing, this is a whole nother step of competition in the league. I don't doubt that they'll be good. I think they need to adjust. It's going to take some growing pains. These boys are young. Fred VanVleet was a little surprising, 4 for 19. Sengun was really the bright spot of the team. I noticed that when Draymond was not guarding him, Sengun was having a field day. When Draymond was on Sengun, Sengun was having a little bit harder time. Obviously, Draymond is an older gentleman, so he's a little bit stronger and a little bit more seasoned when it comes to playing basketball. So Sengun, his 26 was really the only bright spot of that team. Again, 39% from the field, 37% from the three for the Warriors versus 21 for the Rockets. You're not beating teams like that. 55% from the free throw line. You're not winning. Again, don't expect the Rockets to score 85 again. Jalen Green will come out to play. Fred VanVleet, NBA champion, he will come out to play. I'm still taking Golden State in about 6 or 7. I think they can really beat this team. They're deep enough, and Jimmy Butler, I think that's going to take them over the top.